Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.
Razaban for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me on this dark, gloomy, wet evening on Zoom, Mr. Fabio Wardley. Fabio, how are we doing?
I'm good. How's things, bro?
I'm good. All good. As I mentioned, dark, gloomy, raining, windy, lockdown day 5. How's life?
Getting through, surviving like everyone else, just making do with everything that you can, just trying to power through the days and that. But it's a bit better for me because I can still go to the gym. I'm still allowed to train and that. So I've got a few more luxuries than everyone else. You almost feel like a prisoner with a bit more luxuries than everyone else kind of thing, where you're allowed out and they're not. So, but it's all good. It's all good. Just powering through, doing the job. So yeah, getting there.
I remember going back into the middle of the pandemic and when boxing actually started. Eddie Hearn introduced Fight Camp, and he said he was hoping when Joshua Buatsi fights in September, a limited amount of fans could attend the event. We then turned our attention to October, and then boom, we're in another lockdown. Did you actually expect this? You know, when this all started, did you expect that even at the end of the year, even towards the celebrating time of the year, we're still going to be in this situation?
No, not at all. Even when, like, I'll be honest, when this first even came about at the beginning of the year, I was quite naive to it. I was just like, or maybe not even naive, just blasé. I was just like, oh, look, they'll do a lockdown for a couple of weeks and then boom, life's back to normal. And just month went by, and everyone was like, hang on, what's going on here? How long are we locked into this for? And then yeah, it seems like we almost get somewhere, get out a bit, and we think like we're getting, some normality and stuff, and people are going out again and doing this and that, and then boom, here we are again. So just got to power through, and we just got to power through.
You've been on the Dylan Whyte cards, so you've been at the Lions Den at the O2 Arena where the crowd are full, the crowd is cheering, the crowd is loud. Surely as an athlete, you kind of missed that buzz.
Yeah. What was I? I was watching boxing on TV. No, I was watching some old fights back, and some little like clips in there, and I was watching some little clips and of like when the punches land and when the crowd goes wild and that, and I'm just like, I got this little like feeling in me like, I miss it, and it hurt even more because like we really just don't know how long until that's back, until like it's fully back, and like okay, maybe hopefully early next year we'll be able to get a few thousand in or something like that. But when are we ever really going to be back to where like those nights, like those? I think it was in the build up to the Usyk Chisora fight, and they were showing some of Chisora's highlights and things like that. And obviously he's a massive fighter to buzz off the crowd as well. So watching some of that, I got that little feeling like, it just hurt me a bit. It hurt me.
We're scheduled to be out, is it, correct me if I'm wrong, November 21st, back in the bubble, but different type of bubble at Wembley Arena. Supposed to be on the undercard of Dillian Whyte and Povetkin rematch. We'll come to Dillian in a second, but let's talk about yourself. It was supposed to be Lucas Browne. Hearing that fight is now not taking place after everything we heard about the build-up. Are you disappointed?
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm annoyed because, like, even in the build-up before Lucas Browne, it was tough finding me an opponent. Everyone was saying no, this person wasn't ready, that person wasn't ready, whatever reasons they gave. And then we finally locked in Lucas Browne. Everything was cool. Everyone was happy. All agreed, and we was right there. Everything was signed, sealed. We were booking everything, getting everything done, sorted. Everything was over the line, and then it just all went very south very quickly from his side. So yeah, it's definitely pissed me off because you get built up for it. You get a picture of your opponent in your mind and who it's going to be and how the fight's going to go, and especially for him as well, for someone that was like, he was giving it so much on social media and putting out posts of he's going to do this and do that to me, and he's calling me all sorts of names, like I'm a dickhead, I'm a prick and all of this. And I'm like, cool, that's fine, no worries, but show up. That's it. That's all you got to do. You can say whatever you want. I have no problem with it whatsoever. but just show up. And then to do all that, and then to come out with this excuse, that excuse, this reason, and then to pull out and say he's not going to turn up on the night it just pisses me off.
Was there any particular reasons of why this fight hasn't taken over? Did he have any particular demands? Because the fight was confirmed; it was done deal for the 21st.
Yeah, done deal. And to be honest, it was even in the initial, he was quite difficult to kind of get something from. Like, I had to poke him and prod him personally a lot, like on social media and in the DMs and stuff. I had to dig at him a bit to kind of coax him out, and then we finally got him kind of to the table with it. And Eddie and Dill and the team, they had to put together quite a lucrative little package for him to look after him. Even so much so that I had to, because when the card changed from it being a pay-per-view to then being a normal fight night, obviously that trimmed some money off. So I had to, like, for the fight to happen, I had to trim some of my own money off to make sure he still got what he wanted, so we could make sure that the fight was happening. Because I see it as an investment. That's fine. I don't mind that. It's not a big deal right now. So everyone around us, like me, Eddie, the team, we was all kind of pulling out all the stops to try and coax him in and get him into it. And then we seemed like we were there. Everyone was happy. Signed, sealed, delivered. He was announced on his socials that he's going to come back to the UK and do damage and do this and do that. And it's just all bullshit, man. It just fucking, it winds me up because like I said, I don't mind you saying whatever you say. That's cool. In the build up to a fight, that's good. Do whatever you've got to do, but show up. Don't run your mouth and then say all that and then not give me my opportunity to punch you in your face. Like, that's where it sends me over the edge a bit with it. But it is what it is. The game's the game, unfortunately, and these things happen. So we just keep going.
In terms of opponent, what we're looking at, obviously, what we're just under 2 weeks away from fight night. You want a real step up challenge. You don't want to be fighting those journeymen. You want to fight someone who's going to test you and make you a better fighter. So, any particular names out there that you might get?
Yeah, massively. That's what we're looking for. I don't need to be fighting those journeymen anymore. I need them real tests now. I need some people who are going to push me, challenge me, and some people that I can look good against, that I can show that they're of a decent level, but I'm still outboxing them. I'm still outworking them, whatever it may be. But with 2 weeks to go, it makes things very difficult to find that real competitive matchup. So we've don't get me wrong, we've put feelers out there. We've asked the likes of like Nick Webb, Cash Ali. They've all been declined. I don't know if personally, I haven't spoken with them, so I don't know if it was them individually that said no, or maybe their management or whatever has just stopped it and said they're not even going to ask the question or whatever. But like I say, I'm here. I'm just saying, cool, someone turn up, someone find me, kind of thing. But I don't know, like, things don't always go the way as planned. So I'm just, like I say, I've always got faith in Dill and the team and that. Regardless, there'll be someone. I'll be fighting 1,000% on the show. Just the caliber of opponent, who it will be, will just varies at this late stage. That kind of this bit of a hole that Lucas has left us in.
You mentioned that Dillian took that shocking and devastating knockout defeat back in August to Povetkin. Immediate rematch, straight back into training camp, more or less, a little bit of rest. And then obviously Povetkin tests positive for COVID-19. And I know it's going to be hard for Dylan because he's trained so hard for this fight, and, but could this end up being a blessing in disguise for Dylan, just to give him that extra time and mental prep, and as well as physical prep, to make sure he goes in there and is victorious this time around? Yeah,
don't get me wrong, you have to kind of, with any situation that may go wrong, you have to kind of take the positives from it. And ultimately, more time is always beneficial, especially for Dill. He's the younger man, and more time in his side is more beneficial for him. And probably a lot of people would have said that even straight after the fight and everything was done, and when it was organised or the rematch was set up, that maybe it was too soon. So it's good that at least that time, in as unfortunate as it is to have a show cancelled so close to the date when you've been prepping and building for it, that maybe that extra time, them extra few weeks will give him that extra bit more, just to be able to fine tune everything, work out all the little kinks. Not to say he hasn't been, because I know what he's like in the gym, but just extra time is never really too much to grumble at, even though the circumstances ain't great. But again, unfortunately, boxing's boxing at the moment.
We know a couple of fighters called him out and said, listen, we'll take that spot. Michael Hunter said, "I'll fight you for free." Not sure if that's even allowed. Derek Chisora, he said he was ready. He didn't have any bruises, any scratches. David Hayes said, "Look, we're ready to go again." But do we understand Dylan's position to say, you know what, I want to get Povetkin. I want to right the wrong. I don't need to fight Derek Chisora. I've beaten him twice already. Yeah, it might be a great fight for the fans, and it might still do great numbers on pay-per-view, a third fight, but you can kind of understand the decision that he wants to right the wrong.
Yeah, I think everyone can understand that now. I think Dill has paid his dues in that sense. He's given those fights to the fans, the ones that he didn't need to do, like the Derek fight, like the Rivas fight, or all of the ones like that, like the Parker fight, the ones that he didn't have to do, that he could have taken some easier ones in, but he did it. Why? Because he loves his boxing. He loves to have a real show and he likes to be a real fighter for the fans. But I think, in turn, I think we need to give him that, to say, you know what, you've done your bit for us. Like, kind of almost be selfish with this now and go down that direct route that you need to go down to get that kind of cherry on the cake, which obviously is a shot at the world title. So, yeah, I think he's earned that right to say, no, like, I'm going down my path now. I'm not doing all the bits, all the extra stuff for the fans and the TV and whatever. I'm going in the direction I need to go.
Dill's always regarded as kind of that top 5, top 4 heavyweights. We've got Joshua, Fury, Wilder, Parker, Dylan, top 5 kind of elite level heavyweights that we have. We saw the other week Usyk make not his debut, but his kind of real test at heavyweight against Derek Chisora. And a lot of people were quite negative towards Usyk and his performance, and saying that he wouldn't cope with the big boys, the big punches, the 6'9" Tyson Furies, the 6'6" Joshuas, etc. Did you kind of see it in the same way?
Yes and no. Like, I don't think that's a full. I don't think it's fair to make a full kind of assumption based off that one fight. I don't think that's fair. You can't just pick out any one fighter's fight and say, that's them, and that's all they're going to be, and that's all they can be. There was a good fight, and don't get me wrong. And as much as like the losses on his record with Derek and stuff, he's a great fighter. Like, he is very good, and he will bring it to you and put a lot of pressure on you. So he's no easy opponent by no stretch of the imagination. Even if you stuck Derek in with the likes of Joshua or Fury and stuff, he'd give them a hard time as well. So I don't think just because he didn't come out clean and pristine in that fight that then means, oh, he's got absolutely no chance with them top level guys. Now, at the same time as that, yeah, it does. That is the level where he will really see what he can do and what he's made of, kind of thing. Like I said to a lot of people in the build-up, that I was shocked he came in so light at 15.5. I thought bare minimum he'd be at least 16. But it works for him and his style and things, and he was never known to be like the massive one-punch knockout guy at cruiserweight, and that's not the style he's going to bring to heavyweight either. So I think with his style, the way he boxes and stuff, the size he is, the shape he is fine and fitting for him. It's just how well he can use that and adapt that against them bigger guys. And it may even work out better, because once you get in there with them much bigger guys, and they're a bit bigger and they've got more mass and they gas out quicker and they're a bit slower to the mark and stuff, when you're sharp and pinging and stuff, that might work well in his favour.
I kind of go without asking. Last week we saw a video circulating on Twitter and Instagram from Deontay Wilder, which he put together and posted, and made quite a few accusations about not just Tyson Fury and the gloves, but also his long-term trainer, Mark Breland. He talked about the referee. We know previously he spoke about his suit. We know he had a bicep problem as well. What was your reaction first when you saw the video?
That's what it was. I was like, but to be honest, I didn't even watch the video. I saw it circulating. I got the vibe of it. I got the gist of it. I didn't even bother wasting my time watching it, because I knew what it would be. It's a bag of excuses that it's borderline. Well, it is. It's unfair to list that out and be like, this is the reason, that is the reason, that is the reason. No, just stand up and say, you know what, I got beat. That's it. And the thing is, you get so much more respect for that, for being like, you know what, he beat me. Like, that's it. Like when you saw with Joshua when he lost, he was just up front. He was like, you know what, he beat me. Like, there's no need to say this happened, that happened, whatever. he beat me, but when we go again, I'm going to bring it to him and I'm going to win. And he did. And if Wilder did that, he went, you know what, on the night, I wasn't ready for the game that Fury brought, but next time around, we're going to have a plan B, we're going to have a plan C, or whatever, then you get a lot more respect from that. But from this, everyone just looks at Wilder and shakes their head like, what is this idiot going on about? Like, you can't come out with some of the comments that he's come out with through his career about he's like, he lives by the sword, dies by the sword, he's a warrior to the end, and like even saying stupid stuff like, oh, I want to catch a body in the ring and all of that, and then whinging because my elbow hurt and my bicep hurt and my costume was a little bit too heavy and someone spiked my water. Like, are you okay? Like, what is going on? Like, it winds me up, to be honest. It does. It gets on my nerves, and I don't think it's fair to one Fury and fair to the sport either.
Did you find it more shocking about his accusation that he made against Mark Breland? We know Mark's been there from the very early days, and an Olympic medalist himself, a multi-weight world champion himself, a very quiet guy. He's not one of these trainers and coaches that goes on camera and does 100 interviews and does breakdowns of other fights. He's very much kind of a timid, shy guy that just gets on with his craft. But Wilde obviously said that he felt that Mark Breland spiked his water.
It's like it's an outrageous comment to make, because out of that whole team, I think Breland is one of the few guys, or not even the team, but just around Wilder in whole, that, like you say, he's not the loudest in the room or the biggest kind of ego or just the biggest figure or presence. But I think he's one of the realest ones around him that would maybe say in Wilder's ear, you need to sharpen this up, or you need to sort that out, or don't do this. This isn't working. Where a lot of people, I think, around Wilder, are just yes men. Like, they're just saying to him, yeah, cool, that works, do that. Or yeah, just do that. Just because they don't want to get this side of Wilder, where if you go against him, or if he feels like it's your fault or one way or the other, then he's going to kick you to the curb. And everyone wants to kind of look after their own pocket in that sense and make sure they're still there for the paydays.
Well, Fabio, I wish you best. Obviously, a couple of weeks out now, or less than 2 weeks out. But before you go, a couple of big heavyweight fights coming up. I just want to quickly get your prediction. Let's start off with Dubois and Joe Joyce. Great fight. Frank Warren, both with Frank Warren on the 28th of November. It goes down. And potentially, both ranked by the WBO. Obviously, Dubois is quite high. I think number 2 of the WBO. Number 1. So potentially, if Joshua was to vacate that WBO, there is a title there for somebody.
Yeah, for me, that fight in particular, one, like, it's credit to both men for taking it, because it's a great fight, and especially with everything going on, for one, it's still being able to happen, and then putting it on for everyone is credit to them. But for me, it's a fight of two halves. I think if Daniel can get to Joe in the first half of the fight, then it's kind of his. But I think if Joe really gets into his stride and his rhythm and through them later rounds, through that second half of the fight, I think it's his, where he'll push through into them more comfortable rounds that he's more used to going through and just going through the gears. But like I say, credits to both men for taking it, because it's a great fight.
You didn't tell me who really wins the fight.
Yeah. I'm on the fence. I'm sitting on the fence with that one. I'm stuck. I really am stuck.
All right, Joshua Pulev. Now, no crowd. We know Josh is normally used to 80, 90,000 people in stadiums, and it's going to be a quiet atmosphere. I'm sure Matchroom are going to do their best to create a lively atmosphere, but always a risk when it's behind closed doors that a fighter can turn out when there's no pressure on him, there's no crowd cheering against him or booing him. Yeah,
it's the thing. Like, a lot of fighters use it one way or the other. Like I said, which is all earlier. He's one of those fighters that's known to really use the crowd to G him up. But I think Joshua, especially from his amateur days, he'll be a lot more comfortable with kind of that no crowd kind of area. It'll be very new for him in the sense that he hasn't done it in a professional stage at all. Because since he was professional, he was just immediately almost the golden boy, the next one up kind of thing. So it will be a new thing for him in that sense, but I think he'll be able to manage that. I don't think it will play too much of an impact on the fight. I think after a round or two, he'll settle into it and it will just be going through. But I think he'll get him out of there after about 8 or 9 rounds, something like that. And the latter half, because don't get me wrong, Pulev is a big, strong guy, nice and durable, but I think I think Joshua's power and speed will get there in the end.
Okay, Fab, thank you so much, my man, for jumping on this evening with your repping the Bulls. I can see. Out there. Shout me. Wish you all the best for wrestling training, and I'm sure we look forward to the announcement of your new opponent. I will certainly try to get your friend Lucas Browne on a video and find out why he's got so many devious demands.
See what excuses he comes up with. See what you can get from him.
And I'll certainly let you know. Fabio Wardley, IFL TV, thank you very much.
Cheers, Raz. Bye-bye, mate.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.